Okay, we'd like to welcome Keegan Bradley into the interview room, our two-time champion of the BMW Championship, 2018 and 2024, last year at Castle Pines. Keegan, welcome back to a tournament that I know means a lot to you. If you can take us back to 2024, winning this tournament, and then also the state of your game coming into the week.
Yeah, it was a special win because I got here on the 50th spot, and there was a time at Memphis I didn't think I was. It was horrible. So getting here, I felt just such relief. This has become a major milestone in our PGA Tour of getting to here, so we're in the signature event. So winning that was incredible. It's the first time my dad had seen me win, and being a two-time winner at a tournament like this is really special.
All right, Keegan enters the week number 14 in the FedEx Cup standings. We'll go right into questions. If you'll raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you. Start with Paul right here, and then we'll move over to the right side.
Quickly on the golf course, just last time we were here, the 18th hole played as the hardest hole on the course. Just wondering what makes that hole particularly challenging.
Well, it's very long. It's got water all up the right. It's uphill, and any sort of shot into the green that's going left to right has a good chance of going in the water. It's extreme. You got to hit two perfect shots to get it on the green. You have to hit the fairway. There's a lot of really challenging holes in this golf course, and that's certainly one of them.
And then just one other, if I can. Specifically, everyone's still talking about whether you may play the Ryder Cup along with captaining it. I'm just wondering, as Captain Keegan Bradley, looking at player Keegan Bradley, is there still more that you feel like you need to do to earn a spot on that team the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I've been saying all year, you can't expect to be on the team unless you're in the top six. So, my goal is to go out there, whether I was Ryder Cup captain or not this week, and play well, and play well at the Tour Championship as well. So, there's definitely a lot more on my plate here these next couple of weeks. The Ryder Cup has always been so far away, and now it's right there. So, things are definitely amping up, but I still have a lot to prove, just as well as everyone around me on the list.
All right, far right over here.
Keegan, you mentioned more coming onto your plate now, and how have you kind of felt the difference, and you kind of can wear the player hat and wear the captain hat differently early in the year compared to now. How has that process changed for you internally of finding that balance between player and captain?
Yeah, it's thinking a lot more about it now. I'm laying in bed thinking about golf balls that the guys play, thinking about pairings. Certainly amped up, but I think I'm really proud of the way I've been able to get inside the ropes and be a player this year. I didn't know how this was going to go. No one knew how this was going to go. I think most people thought I wasn't going to have a horrible year. But I'm really proud. That's one of the things I'm most proud of. I'm proud that I won in Hartford, but I'm also really proud to have been able to perform inside the ropes without everything going on. So there's no reason why I can't continue to do that these next 2 weeks. We've got a lot on the line, and I hope to continue.
All right, let's go to Bob right here on the aisle.
Keegan, what would you say about your game the last couple of weeks? Where is it right now, even compared to the Travelers? And have you found there to be any extra burden at this point? Has it made it harder to play well?
I think for whatever reason, I've never played well at Memphis. It's my best finish there since 2011, and it was T45. So it's always a tough week for me. So. But things are definitely getting more difficult. But it is for everybody on the list of the Ryder Cup. This is when you really start to, when you're trying to get a pick or you're trying to play your way on the team, you feel like every round's Q school. And so it's not just difficult for me. It's difficult for everybody that's trying to make this team. And, I feel for them. I know what it's like. I know people try to act like they're okay, but they're nervous every round, and that's the way it should be.
All right. Aside from the Ryder Cup, obviously there's been a fairly significant change in the FedEx Cup format this year. They've spread out the bonus money. Next week is sort of on its own. You get there, you start over. How do you look at the new way that they're doing it? Are you good with it? You think it needs to be tweaked at all?
I think it's great. I really like rewarding the regular season because it's such a big sample size, and Scotty Scheffler should be number one and make more than all of us. It's because he played the best, And I think that this system here really shows that. And, you know, the Tour Championship has changed so much since I've been on tour, and this is certainly going to be pretty wild because somebody's going to go in there and win the FedEx Cup in 1 week. Like this is I was talking to my caddy. This is the last week we're going to talk about FedEx Cup, as we're all going there, truly going there at zero. So, really interesting. I don't know how it's going to go, but I think it'll be really exciting, and chances are, there's the best players always seem to pop up in the biggest events. So my guess is you'll see those guys again.
All right, Doug.
A couple things, Keegan. First of all, a little bit off topic-ish. How often have you played Bethpage? Did you ever get out there much when you're at St. John's, and did you ever have to, schlepping around and wait for a tee time, or did you have certain privileges?
So at St. John's, Craig Curry was the superintendent, and the Black is closed on Mondays. And he would let us play the Black when it was closed. So we would start on the third tee, there's a maintenance shack there, and we'd play inside the road. So we play 3 through 14. We'd be the only people on the golf course. Sometimes there'd be no flags in. That was every Monday. So it was like the day we look forward to the most, because we would do a couple loops. We'd play 8, all of us. My senior year, with my buddy George, we just said screw it, and we went over the road and we played 15, 16, 17, 18, 1, 2, and got in so much trouble. But try being a college kid and looking at 15 and not wanting to go play it. And then we also, our home tournament was on the Red, which is just to the left or right of 18th at the Black, which is another incredible course. So, and I also played the New York State Open there, one of my first pro events.
Secondly, there's been a lot of talk, and you brought up these points yourself, but Rory was outlining a case why a guy can't play and captain at the same time in terms of press conferences, speeches, time consuming, and flexibility in terms of how many matches you could play, etc. How much of that have you considered? And is your list longer than that?
I mean, you might be right. We don't know. No one knows. Like everybody's telling me to start the year that a player can't be captain and have a good year. And for me, I feel like this is one of my best years that I've ever had. One of the strangest things, what I've done throughout my entire career, is really lean on other people for advice and calling people and asking them, how do you prepare for a major? What do you do in the last tee time? Or how do you deal with the media? Or how do you deal with corporate obligations? And in this instance, there's no one to call. So nobody knows how this could work. I certainly have a lot of concerns as well as everybody else, but I have the most incredible vice captains, including Jim Furyk, who's been on like 100 of these teams and been captain a bunch of times. And quite frankly, I'd be leaning on them more than any other captain maybe ever. Anyways, even if I'm not playing. So we're ready for this if it happens. I'm not sure it's going to. I can truly sit here right now and say I don't know what's going to happen. I have to look at myself just like any other player trying to make the team, and I'm 10th in points right now, and that's not 6th.
All right, let's move over to Adam on the left.
No team markers at Bethpage either, right?
No team markers. No.
Have you thought about, I'm sure you've thought about it, but you plan on getting the guys, 12 guys on the team together for either at Bethpage or somewhere along the way ahead of the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, we're gonna. The guys are. I can't tell you just how proud I am of this group. They're such a different breed than my era of Ryder Cups. They really want to hang out with each other. So like any sort of extra thing that comes with the Ryder Cup, they're all in. And we're still working everything out, but we're definitely going to get together before the Ryder Cup.
Will it be at Bethpage or somewhere else?
I don't know if it'll be at Bethpage, but we'll. One of the great things about the Ryder Cup, it starts on Friday, so we get in there nice and early, get prepared, and we'll learn the course that way. But we have some ideas of what we're going to do prior to.
All right, let's go back right over here.
Hey, Keegan, congrats on an awesome year. Just want your consideration. I just played Bethpage Black about last week and shot even par on
Nice.
Have you ever considered an amateur to be playing on the Ryder Cup team as a captain's pick?
Definitely not.
Thank you for the consideration.
Yeah.
All right, let's move back to Paul here.
You've played in both the home and away, and much is being made about the crowd in New York and just kind of the atmosphere that brings. I'm just wondering, kind of the psychology of playing in both home and away, like in an away Ryder Cup, obviously feels antagonistic. Does that bleed into how you're playing or your psyche, and then vice versa when you're at home?
Well, I think when you're at home, you can really there's big momentum swings where you can like ride a session or ride a pairing that could alter the Ryder Cup completely. And the crowd at Bethpage is going to be unlike anything the sport's ever seen. I think that this Ryder Cup has potential to be one of the best sporting events in North America. I mean, I think it's the people of New York really truly care about Bethpage Black. Like they have Wingfoot, they have Shinnecock, they have these unbelievable prestigious clubs, but you ask a real New Yorker or a person from Long Island, Bethpage is their home track. And they're extremely proud of that. They're extremely proud of the public, how it's really a public course. They can play for $40. They like playing not only the black but the green. They all have stories of sleeping in the car with their dad with their grandfather, learning how to play there. And it's an extremely special place to a lot of people there. And we're going to hear that at Bethpage. They're going to be proud of their course.
All right, let's take a few more. Let's go Mark and then over to Adam.
Keegan, when you hear Ricky and Patrick and even Rory say Keegan's one of the 12 best American golfers and should be on the team, how much does that factor into the equation?
Well, I can tell you, honestly, it means the world to me to hear that. I haven't really felt that in my career. It's really touching. It really means a lot. I really have. The thing I've enjoyed most is getting to know these guys better. I was really a closed-off player for most of my career, and getting to know the guys more and getting to learn who they are. And then I think as a golfer, or as an athlete or businessman, whatever it is, when you feel the respect of your peers, that's the ultimate. And to hear that from two players of that caliber really means a lot.
All right, let's go here to Adam.
Talked about trying to talk to past major winners and stuff. Are there some past captains of the U.S. team that you've talked to, and anything specific that's really made an impression on you?
Yeah, I've been speaking to a lot of the past captains. I've been speaking to a lot of coaches, in all different sports. Tiger did it at President's Cup, so talking to him, Ryder Cup is certainly much different than the Ryder Cup in terms of obligations, but also 2 sessions in one day and less people play. You got to sit more people, and he's been extremely helpful. But I think the more information I can get about successful coaches, especially on national teams in any sport, and how to bring together really alpha athletes that are used to being on their own, and then coming together quickly. And I think that's been really valuable, and certainly I can learn a lot from them.
Belichick?
I really have been leaning more on the national team coaches that where these teams come together quick and they are superstar athletes and they're used to being their top dog wherever they go. I really think that's a little bit more applicable than we don't have any role players on our team. There's no guy out there just getting rebounds or just playing defense. Every guy on our team is one of the best players in the world that competes to win majors and tries to win tournaments every single week. So it's a much different vibe than a team or like a Belichick with Patriots where you have Tom Brady and then you have the guy on special teams where they have two hugely different roles. And I think that's the best way to compare the two.
All right, we'll wrap right over here.
Keegan, Scotty said earlier today that you've exceeded his expectations as captain, and he's really valued what you've done in the locker room and being there, and that's such a unique thing as a captain. What was your approach to that, and understanding that you had a unique opportunity being in the locker room and being in player dining every day with these guys to see them and build those relationships, like you said?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm treating the Ryder Cup as a real team. We're not going off past Ryder Cups and like what they did. I'm trying to act like this is like a team that plays it all year round. And I think an advantage that I've had as captain is that I am around the guys. I'm around the guys in practice rounds in the locker room. waiting in rain delays. I mean, I saw J.J. Spawn at the U.S. Open in this rain delay, and I'm looking at him, and I just it didn't seem like he was in this position to win the U.S. Open. It seemed like we were there in a practice round. He's choking around, and I just remember thinking, man, this guy's he's a killer. This is crazy. I'd be, pacing around outside or whatever, but, just seeing that. But more importantly, getting to know the guys, it's really forced me to, really get to know them. And they've impacted my career, and I think one of the reasons why, I've had a better last couple of years is just getting to know them and getting to learn how they go about their career, which is so much different than mine. And, certainly getting to know Scotty, who I didn't know really at all, and to learn what just a great family man he is, what a great friend he is, what a great teammate it is, but then what an absolute savage he is inside the ropes. He's a different guy in there, and I love that about him.
All right, Keegan, thank you for your time.
Thank you.